Okay, we're going to talk about several different things here. Burner related, oil-fired burner related. This happens to be an electromagnetic grind fighter. It doesn't really matter what brand it is because we're going to talk about oil-fired burners. Oil-fired is diesel, number 1, number 2 diesel, or stove oil, kerosene. In this case, we're using diesel fuel. The customer complaint on this one was that there was no burner and that they had a repeated problem of having to replace the fuel solenoid coil. And this is a good example of why it's important that we go ahead and follow our own troubleshooting and diagnostic procedures, because this technician spent some time trying to find out whether or not it was a continuous problem with the fuel solenoid. So what we did is we fired it up, started the machine, turned the burner on, and the burner would ignite and it would burn for a few seconds and then it would go out, almost like it was a plug fuel filter problem. Customer told us that he's been replacing the fuel filter and he's got those, and so we went ahead and we checked the fuel filter, took that off. The fuel filter was pretty clean. Reinstalled the fuel filter, started the system back up. The burner would ignite, burn for a few seconds, and then go back out. So we went ahead and we put on a fuel gauge. Fuel gauge is on that port right on top of the fuel pump. And the fuel pump, when it would run and you would call for burner, it would come up to 100 pounds, and it would run for a few seconds, and then all of a sudden the pressure would drop back down to 0, and the burner would go out. So that's kind of indicative of a fuel supply problem. So what we did was we actually removed the fuel line off of the inlet of the fuel filter assembly. Just a tiny, tiny little trickle was coming out. Obviously, that's a small fuel line, so you're not going to get a lot of fuel. However, you did this. The fuel that was coming out was really, really low. So we went ahead and we came up here to the front of the fuel tank, right by the ball valve, and we took the fuel line off. Same thing, just a very small trickle. So we took the ball valve off, just a very small trickle. Then we get over here to the elbow when it goes up inside the fuel tank. We took that off. Then we had a whole bunch of flow. So we temporarily plugged that port on the fuel tank, cleaned out that elbow. The elbow was just all full of rust and garbage and debris, which is indicative of dirty fuel or dirty containers. Reinstalled the fitting, reinstalled the ball valve, reinstalled the hoses, came back and did our test. Then the burner came up. When it says ignited, fuel pump come up to 100 pounds, it would ignite and it would continue to burn just fine. We went ahead and increased this to 130 pounds so that we had a better air-fuel mixture ratio, and that was really the only cause of the problem. There was some other little minor things that we won't go into on this video that we saw that we took care of, but this is an indication of whenever you've got a problem with the fuel pump, or a burner rather, or any problem when it's related to machines, and the customer starts leading you down one path. Since they don't work on them, they don't always understand and know exactly how these systems operate. So we're better off just acting like we didn't hear anything, find out what the actual complaint is, and then we can start our troubleshooting and diagnostic procedure. If you have any questions, go ahead and contact your supervisor or A&E Industrial Equipment at aefresno.com.